New England sanitarium for the mentally insane.
Oh, yo, there's writing. It says Satan? It says Satan to God on that back wall? It says Satan is God.
Are you getting that, Jason? Let me see what you're seeing.
Welcome, everybody, to our first ever episode of Ghost Hunt Debrief, where we're going to go over all the evidence from the first episode and go into replay. And we also have our buddy Jaren here. Give a round of applause for Jaren.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Good to be here.
He's coming all the way from North Carolina. He's our resident skeptic.
Pretty skeptic of him.
Yeah, he's a big believer in wind.
And the goldfishes make noise underwater.
What?
What?
Okay, so with that out of the way, we're going to get into the evidence with Jaren. Jaren, you told me you got some timestamps. What's the first one you got for me?
First one I got is 9:58 when we hear air on the spirit box.
9:58.
He said air.
When we get to the spirit box.
Well, if you remember our investigation, we do hear air, Tristan.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because he said, like,
all right, let's give this a run from 9:48.
What was it that harmed you?
Now, was it in
I
reference?
definitely heard air, but honestly, I'm not sure if it's definitively communicating with something or if it was some kind of interference.
That honestly, I could give that to you. It could 100% be air. I just included it because it was right after we asked what harmed you, or like what caused your death, and the leading theory is that they can communicate through the white noise audio, but that they can also manipulate radio frequencies to show certain things, to communicate in certain ways. So 100%, it could just be the radio bleeding through. I just included it just in case.
Okay.
I mean, that's...
But yeah, honestly, that's a good debunk there.
It honestly...
It could go either way.
It could still go either way. If it is, that's clear as hell.
That's
clear.
There's no way
clear.
a fucking expert in any of this, so take everything I say with a grain of salt.
Yeah, and we love that point of view, though, because
seriously,
it's like an everyday more point of view, not somebody who's into ghost hunting, because most people that are into ghost hunting are believers in the supernatural.
Yeah.
And not many ghost hunters are skeptics. But Jaren's an outlier.
He's an outsider.
He's an outcast.
He is, he's an outcast. But yeah, no, dude, let's give that one more replay and give that one more listen. I'll play from 42.
Injury? Was it medicine?
What was it that harmed you?
Like...
I completely agree with you, Jaren. It could 100% be radio. It's just, it was pretty immediate.
That's what I'm saying, man.
It was pretty immediate, but it could also be the radio cutting through. Because that did happen a few times where we heard "Carry On My Wayward Son" and the Goo Goo Dolls.
True.
And
But also the way it says air is very kind of odd.
Yeah, it's like air.
And then also that it comes in so instant is a little off-putting too, I guess.
Yeah, because
normally you get a delayed response. It's very rare that a response comes in so immediate.
Yeah.
But just the way it sounds is, I mean, it doesn't really sound like something in a song.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't sound like somebody on a radio show talking. So.
Yeah.
And if it was air, then what are they talking about when it comes to air? Did they suffocate? Did they drown because of lack of air?
Yeah.
They get strangled.
Because we did hear a few sounds of like gargling and some other stuff as well.
I like that. I like our thoughts on that.
Jared, any more thoughts on that, brother?
No, I think you guys covered all the bases.
Okay, cool. I really like your point of view on that, brother. What's the next timestamp you got for us?
The next timestamp I have is 10:11. We hear a knock.
10:11. All right, we are already at 10, so I'll just play it from here so we get a little bit of context.
Did you die peacefully, or did you die in pain?
I heard Eve.
Yo.
I also heard something with an E.
Is that you trying to speak to us?
Did you hear that?
I did. Yeah.
Sound like it was...
Oh, were you talking about the evil?
No, there was
No,
like a knock.
I heard.
Oh, the knock.
I
The
heard
knock.
that.
Yes,
I
yes,
heard
the
that.
knock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which,
yeah.
honestly, I think that is honestly pretty strange to hear on a radio. I don't know about you guys, but
Yes.
I personally have never heard knocking on a radio.
No, never. No.
I'd say if anything, it sounded more like something dropping on something soft, like kind of like
Yeah.
a baseball hitting the grass or something.
Yeah, or like something hitting hard wood.
Yeah, or just like
Yeah.
just something
Play it
falling.
again.
Yeah.
Just
here,
something
let me-
falling. Really.
Let me go back 5 seconds.
Did you die peacefully, or did you die in pain?
I heard Eve.
Yo. Oh, there's two things there, though.
Yeah.
That literally sounded like the baseball cracking off the bat.
Yeah.
You hear what I'm talking
Play it
about,
again,
though, right?
dude.
Yeah. No, I definitely hear what you're
Just the
talking
first
about.
one I got when it sounds like a ball
or
dropped
did
on the
you
ground.
die in pain?
That might be that could be something. I'm not entirely sure, but you know, I thought it was very strange to hear a knock.
Yeah.
Now that I'm
yeah,
hearing again, it
100%.
does sound like a water droplet. But
Yeah, but for that to pick up on the audio next to us when it's not raining, that does not sound like an audio droplet. That sounds
no,
like
I said a water droplet.
Yeah, I guess it's something like that, too.
Yeah, like a
it
empty
sounds
room
like
or
a
something.
knock.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what about that clip? Did you want to bring up that like it's like not like a radio sound and
Yeah, it's not like a radio sound. I mean,
yeah.
that was like the first instance where I thought I was like, huh, maybe that's a little weird. You know, that maybe there is, maybe there is something, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Still unsure, to be honest with you.
100%. And that's
But,
completely
it caught my
valid
attention.
coming from a skeptic side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did catch
Personally,
my attention.
I would kind of lean towards his not believing in what it could be like a knock or something. It does just the two random sounds maybe.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's also really random that it came through the spirit box.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that stuff
As
like you
clear
would
as it
hear in your
did.
ear
Yeah,
or
and also we didn't hear the knock
I didn't.
on scene.
nor the sound like that.
Yeah,
We reacted to
didn't
something
hear
else.
the scream before that either on set. Like a lot of these, we really couldn't hear on set that I found when I boosted the audio. It was
Oh, all right.
yeah, it was because it was windy. We were outside,
was
and we were
cold.
also asking specific questions. When you're asking specific questions, your ears are gonna trick you. And it's gonna trick you into looking for specific answers. So like you could hear us sometimes, like when he said Harold Dean at one point, I thought he said no because we had asked him a yes or no question, not a what is your name. But he came through with that, and it was just like my ears tricking me with the wind and everything. But when we went back through and looped everything and went through the audio evidence, like I was hearing more stuff than like 80% more than what we heard
Yeah,
on
it was crazy.
scene. Like even the first one, you could hear us in the video being like, "Oh, the first spirit box didn't really go well. We heard music.
Yeah.
we heard a lot that we
heard-
didn't actually hear on scene, which was crazy."
Yeah, definitely.
Anything else you want to add to that, Jaren?
No, other than, first thing that caught my attention and, maybe swayed me in towards being a believer, but still
interesting.
undecided. Still
Okay,
unsure.
that's completely valid. But it's really cool seeing a skeptic see something like they don't even have to believe it's ghosts, but it's really interesting seeing them see something or hear something and they're like, I don't have a logical explanation that like makes sense for that situation.
But I'm here for a different point of view.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we love that here. We love that here because we have all varying differences of believers, but we're all believers.
Yeah. That'll
We
come
all
to
have
the bottom
different
line. where we-
experiences, but it's really I love that we can have you for this side of you, Jaren.
Yeah.
I feel like I can be part of it. Thank you for having me.
And what's that? Do you have another timestamp for us?
I do. I have 1833 where we hear Jesus.
Bet you the mic picked up
33.
that.
Oh, that's right outside the church.
But we were getting some great stuff outside.
Yeah,
of the
we
church.
really were. All right.
A lot of the stuff is just, it's hard to make out if it's interference or not. So I don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
I am the skeptic. So, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
By no means an
100%.
expert.
Especially since we're playing with radio frequencies too. Like, there's bound to be radio bleed through. There's bound to be broadcast bleed through. We're trying, especially with me being an audio engineer. I don't know if you guys know that, but I'm an audio engineer at a recording studio in Somerville. I can hear the difference between a produced vocal and what a normal vocal sounds like. Like that air that Jaren brought up earlier, it did sound sort of produced, but I only included it because of how immediate it was.
Yeah.
But besides that, I try to eliminate, or like you'll notice like there's a bunch of sounds in the video that some people might point out, but to me it just sounded like radio interference. But let's go ahead and give this clip a run through. Jaren said it's where we hear Jesus through the spirit box out front of the church for the first time. So let's give it a run.
How old were you when you died? Ask if you're the same now that we've been right?
That sounded like a scream.
How long have you been trapped here?
Jesus, dude. Holy shit.
Dude! It just said really. Dude! Dude! It just said really.
No, yeah, I'm definitely hearing what you guys are hearing. But
Yeah.
I don't know. The voice definitely sounds similar to what we've been hearing.
Yeah, especially with the herald.
Yeah, especially with the herald.
And it would be very weird to have the same broadcast going on for multiple hours at a time, where they're bringing up the same words over and over, and it varies so differently. Like, he was talking about how he was in pain and his name, and then a bunch of other stuff. We'd have to go through the video again to see more information. It was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah,
Also hearing it when you guys were by the church, it's kind of like, I don't know, just like fit the situation and seemed like it was like, I don't know, something trying to reach out.
Very suspicious.
yeah, like somebody who was like trapped at their funeral or something. Like somebody who died at the hospital and had their funeral there.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
We were also standing by where they would, I think Tristan said this, where they would park the hearses
and bring the casket
and bring the
up
caskets out for the funeral.
Yeah, they had
drive
just
in.
torn up the ramp and stuff where they would bring it in.
Very eerie.
Yeah,
but
and we were literally just talking about that before we started the spirit box. What's the next timestamp you got there for us, Jaren?
1916. I believe this is when we hear Harold more and more clearly.
All right,
The
I'll give it a run
infamous
from 1908. Give it a little bit of
Haroldine.
context. Yeah, we're actually waiting on a call from a local historian and the state archives to try to figure out a little bit more about Harold. If we can,
I was going to ask if you guys did any research on.
Yeah, so we were trying. They said that they couldn't get it to us that quickly. They said it would be about a week or two.
Okay.
Which isn't that bad, especially since it's like 3 people working at the Historical Society.
And God knows how back that.
Exactly, because it opened in 1899.
And it's not the only herald that's
probably been there. Yeah.
Because it was a big,
But
big.
thankfully, we have a last name, so
Yes. Exactly.
which I believe we will review that as well.
right now.
Oh,
Oh, well,
oh.
you're getting your
Perfect.
wishes.
Would you look at that?
All right, let's get to this clip here.
What is your name? Harold? Harold, maybe? I didn't really hear that too clear. Is your name Harold? Harry?
He said no. Yeah, so right there was one of those examples that I was bringing up earlier where we were asking a specific question. We heard Harold, and we asked another adjacent question right after that, and I assumed that it was going to be probably a yes or no answer. And I wasn't really looking for the name again since we had just got the name, but it came through
And
even
it also
clearer.
it didn't come through is clear the first time,
Yes,
so that's why we were
exactly.
questioning things off the first
like
time.
Harry, or I thought it was harem at first.
Yeah, and once again, I think the voice was very similar to the first time we heard it.
Yeah, like it's very it's distinct enough to understand there's an unnatural voice there, but also there's enough of a gray area to say, okay, that we could ask questions about, is this what they said? Is this even a name? Is this actual, like,
and it's a
voices?
similar enough frequencies in the voice where they match up.
Yeah.
Like, it could just be a different tone that
Exactly.
they're talking in, because
And
it
then-
still sounds the same.
Thankfully, the next time around, we do hear it again, so obviously we were able to make that connection, because if it happened the first time and only once, then we probably would have never either A, included it, or B, questioned it the way we did.
100%.
But
Yeah,
you'll,
for the whatever, to double down whatever was heard, to double down on what they said. It was, I don't know, it was definitely caught my attention once again.
Very
It's
interesting.
very, very suspicious.
well, it's really going to
Yes.
grab your attention when you hear it again more clearly.
And what's that next timestamp you got for us, brother?
The next timestamp is 2342.
23.
We hear,
42.
yes,
We
pretty
are
clearly.
pumping through these.
And I think that if there was any evidence at all collected, this would probably be the most compelling.
Alrighty, I'd love to hear that from our resident skeptic here over at the Ghoul Bois channel. Let's give it a listen from
Please.
2330. We'll give it a little 10-second run up.
I just heard a no. Are you aware that the building is being torn down? Yo! That was a yes. Oh, my. Dude, that was clear as day. Did you not hear the second one?
Yeah, Jaren, I completely agree with you. If there was a piece of evidence in this video that was compelling, it would probably be that, and maybe the one after this a little bit later on.
Let's just play it again real quick.
Yeah.
Maybe a few times.
That's just so
Yeah, we
awesome.
gotta.
I forget the timestamp to the one after you're talking about, because I was trying to get into the Zoom call.
We can run through that again at the end. It was the one with the knocks at the end. But we can run that after. Let's give this another replay, because we had just asked, do you know that the building is being torn down? Do you know that it's under construction? And we heard very clearly through the spirit box a yes.
Very soon after, might I add.
And it sounded pretty similar to the other voice that was saying Harold as well.
Yeah. That's what caught my ears.
Yeah.
Specifically
Yeah.
was how similar that voice sounded.
I agree.
Yeah, let's give that one more listen, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Are you aware that the building is being torn down? Yo!
It's like
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a yes.
like a very
It sounded
quick on
like
response.
they might have wanted to say something else after that, but it got cut off.
Yeah, if any evidence at all collected, that's for me is probably the most compelling out of all of it.
Thank you. We really appreciate that, and we're honestly just glad our audio and everything was still working at the time, because we were having a lot of technical difficulties, as you
But
can
now
tell.
we got upgrades.
Yeah.
I definitely just
yeah.
knocked the mic, so unfortunately we're
Probably.
going to have to...
Probably gonna have
I
to
didn't
fix
do
that
anything.
later.
But we got upgrades.
Hell yeah, baby.
upgrades.
I didn't do anything.
Upgrades.
Tons of upgrades behind us. You can't even
We'll
see.
show that in a bit.
You ain't ready.
Jaren, did you have any more timestamps, or was that your?
That was my last one. Yeah, that's all.
Well,
the
you didn't
timestamps I
question
got,
much,
other
buddy.
than the last
Clearly
one
did
you're about to
good.
show.
Yeah, I just want to show one more. It's where we asked for any noises specifically from the building, and I turn off the
yes.
spirit box.
Can you make a loud sound from in the hospital? Shut this off.
If there's any spirits present with us, could you make a noise?
Did you not hear that?
I think that's water dripping though.
If there's any spirits here with us, could you finish the pattern for me?
And that third knock to me sounded very, very similar to the one that we got through the spirit box.
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah, and
the
then
one
after
that
you
Jaren
asked
brought
again,
up.
isn't there another noise?
Yeah.
No,
was that not it? Was that?
So there wasn't another
That does
noise
sound
right
pretty
before
similar.
that.
It
We
did
had heard
sound, right?
shuffling inside, so we had stopped the spirit box and then we started it back up again.
Oh, okay, all right.
But right after that, Dante thought he heard something from the building, but we didn't hear it as well, so we couldn't corroborate it. But then he wound up kicking something on the floor.
Yeah, he was actually hearing the voices in his head.
Randy Orton, actually. The one that I would like Jaren's opinion on is right when the camera
Oh, the camera malfunctioning.
just going haywire.
Just decided it didn't want to fucking live anymore.
Well, it was at full battery.
Yeah, it actually went haywire twice.
It was full battery when we
Said,
were standing
"Peace,
next
I'm
to
out."
it. And then, like, a couple minutes...
Yeah, right here. Right by the morgue, our camera battery started to drain. So we turned it off, went back to the car, tried to charge it best as we could, and then it wound up dying again later on after we charged it.
We did not expect the building to still be under such surveillance since it is currently being demolished. But we got as close as we could legally and got some close looks into the windows, but our camera then started malfunctioning. And as we were fixing the issue, we heard what sounded like a giant clash come from inside of the morgue. When this clash occurred, we decided to start running our live audio recordings.
Okay, recording audio. Starting right now. We just missed a loud bang, dude. Like a crash or something over by the morgue, bro. That was our recording device recording a little bit. And then right as we went to start our second spirit box, it also died.
As we make our way over to the old main entrance on the east side of the former hospital and sanitarium, we start to get an eerie feeling. This is where the ambulances would drop off the wounded and ill, and where the unlucky some would have their final moments.
Yo. This was just at 2 full bars, and now it's about to die.
And just as we get that sinking feeling, our camera battery dies.
Yeah, which was pretty ironic since we had just gone back to the car.
Like, what?
Like
Yeah,
it
it's a
just,
little weird.
Yeah, it's a
It was
little.
also very cold out.
Case closed.
Yeah,
I was gonna say it was very
It
cold.
was
but
pretty cold, and we were outside, but it shouldn't have killed the battery twice.
That quickly, too?
Yeah,
That quickly?
because we were out there for like 3
And that camera
hours.
was turned on for barely even 5 minutes.
I
before
wasn't
Before it
really
died the
rolling
first
it that
time, yeah.
for that long.
And then, as you noticed, we switched to iPhone footage, which honestly we should have done from the beginning. But we upgraded our camera. We got a night vision camera.
I'll
Shoots
do good
4K.
this time, I promise.
Very nice.
Yeah,
No
we got
finger
we got a
cams.
little camera rig. Yeah, pretty nice.
Ghoul Boys are professionals now.
Hell yeah, brother.
The Ghoul Bois.
Oh yeah.
The Ghoul Boys. But yeah, Jaren, we really appreciate you coming out and helping us out with this video and giving us your side of view. And I really appreciate that you brought up some areas to debunk, and you also brought up some areas that were interesting that you couldn't really figure out a logical reason around. But you don't necessarily think it's ghosts, but you can't necessarily explain it.
Yeah, it's not definitively a yes or a no for me.
Yeah.
Like you talked about, there was a lot of radio interference, so it's kind of hard to differentiate and definitively say that we were communicating with anyone or thing at all.
Yeah,
But
100%.
there was some strange things. Absolutely, I would agree there. There's definitely some strange occurrences.
Well, thank you so much, Jaren. We really appreciate you being here, and we hope to have
Absolutely.
you back
Happy to
for the
be
next
here.
debrief,
Good
brother.
to be here
And
again.
Can't wait until we can make it down to you for.
Thank you, Jaren.
Yeah, absolutely.
For some
I'll see
hunts.
what we got around
Dante's
here for some
standing
haunted
up
places.
ruining the
Maybe
shot
we can get
right
Rowan
now,
over
but-
He's
something.
not even
I
in
don't
the
know.
shot. He ruined it because he's not here. So now the team is disassembled, and basically the channel's over.
Basically, we're done.
Yeah.
This is it.
For context,
We just
I'm
had to
getting
file
ready
for
to end
bankruptcy.
the damn video.
From full names, quick responses on the spirit box, to noises on command, is it safe to say that the old abandoned Stoneham State Hospital, formerly named the New England Sanitarium for the Mentally Insane, is haunted? I'd say so. What say you? Let's hear it in the comments.